All right, so there was a story about a man named Jared Fournier who, in Georgia, turned in a Genesis, and this is somewhat old news, but I don't want to hear any crying, that had crystal methamphetamine inside the cartridge slot.
You return it to a pawn shop.
Yeah, trying to sell it to a pawn shop.
With meth.
Now, they were checking it out. They actually opened the cartridge slot, which I got to admit is more than most pawn shops do. So good on them. And they found crystal meth in there, and they called the cops, and the guy was arrested. And it's funny because I've found weird things inside consoles before. And honestly, when I was in high school, I used to hide my drugs inside consoles because it is a good place to hide them. The little thing underneath a Nintendo that clips out.
Port?
Yeah. Oh, I used to hide my 10 strips in there all the time. So, but I mean, I see candy inside consoles. I see coins all the time. I found a cheap ring inside a console once. I've never found drugs, but you find stories. You know, people say they found money in a console or something like that. But finding drugs in a, it's because I work in an area where there's a lot of tweakers, and this is specifically about crystal meth. It's very funny to me that that's how this occurred, because crystal meth addicts don't think straight. I would wager that if a pot smoker had hid weed in his Genesis, he'd go to sell it to get Cheetos or something delicious, and he'd be like, oh, there's an eighth of marijuana in there. I should probably take that out. Okay, good. The crystal meth user's not going to remember that. I mean, they're addicts, but they're just so freaking gone.
It makes me just, who is he hiding it from? Is he at home with a family, hiding it from his roommate?
Yeah, it doesn't give
himself.
It doesn't give the age.
I'd love to know his obviously, if you're doing crystal meth, your state of mind is not good to begin with.
It makes you very, very paranoid. So he could have been hiding it from people who don't exist.
So good on the pawn shop for not trying to sell it.
Yeah,
pawning the meth.
I mean, it's a tiny story, but I wanted to bring it up because things get found in consoles all the time, and in consoles they've reported, I think, drugs in consoles before, but it was never when someone was selling it. It was, there was a raid and they find drugs inside a console or something. It was never someone voluntarily trying to get rid of a Genesis and leaving their drugs inside the system.
What's a 10 strip, by the way? I never heard that expression.
10 hits of acid in a single strip that you have to cut up.
Oh. Remember what Frank said about acid?
I don't remember what Frank said about
it. He's got good... He's the guy to go to for advice for acid.
Well,
nowadays, unless you know who made it, you stay the fuck away from it.
Oh, well, yeah, I know that. Jesus Christ. But I don't do it anymore. I don't have the time.
I'm glad it's a time thing and not... It can mess me up really bad decision. I don't have the time to do acid.
Acid's pretty safe. Anyways.
Again, if you know what it is...
Yes, I know. So, anyways.
That was probably the strange response that for you, it's not so strange, but I don't have the time to do acid. As the excuse.
It's like a 2-day thing. You got a day doing it, and then you need a day of recovery. I have a life. I'm not in high school anymore. Okay. Anyway.
Well, I need less of a life so I can drop acid again.
No, I don't want that. I'm just simply saying I can't do it anymore.
Jesus Christ.